Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be doing a full book summary of The Maze Runner by James Dashner. So if you've never read the book, or maybe you've just forgotten about it, then this will be the perfect video for you. Alternatively, if you have read the book before and you'd like a refresher, then you're more than welcome to join me too. Anyway, as usual, this video will contain spoilers for the book, so do bear that in mind. Also, if you enjoyed this video, and you haven't already done so, then please consider leaving a like and subscribing because it tells me that you find these videos useful and it also helps to support the channel. Anyway, let's get into the video and let's not waste any time in getting started with The Maze Runner. To start off, we meet our main character, Thomas, who wakes up one morning in an elevator and finds himself with no memory of his past. As the elevator travels upwards, he is joined by other boys who have no recollection of who they are or how they got there. Eventually, the doors open and the boys find themselves in a clearing surrounded by towering stone walls which form a massive maze. There is a small hut nearby where the boys can keep their supplies and seek shelter. And they soon discover that the only way out of the maze is through the huge metal doors at the far end. However, the doors are locked and don't open unless someone passes through them carrying a certain token called a flare. Thomas and the others soon learn that every night when the sun goes down, grievers emerge from the maze, creatures with numerous mechanical arms which are designed to capture and kill anyone who gets in their way. To avoid being captured, the boys hide in the hut during the night. However, they soon realize that the hut is only able to protect them for so long. And so they begin to plan their escape. They come up with the idea of sending one person through the doors each night. If they manage to pass through safely, then the door remains open for everyone else to follow. Unfortunately, this doesn't work out, and the first boy sent to try it ends up being killed by a griever. As more time passes, the boys become increasingly desperate to leave the maze behind. Their food and water supplies dwindle, and the grievers seem to be more aggressive than ever. In a final attempt to escape, the boys send Thomas through the doors. He manages to evade the grievers, and he eventually discovers that there is a safe zone outside of the maze, although he has no idea how to get back inside. Once the grievers have passed, he manages to find a note left by one of the other boys, which explains that the doors will remain open for 2 minutes after the last griever has passed. This gives Thomas just enough time to reach the doors and open them from the other side. The other boys run through, and they are all relieved to be free from the maze. However, their troubles are far from over, because Thomas and the others soon discover that they are being watched by mysterious figures known as the Creators. The Creators explain that the maze was just the first test and that there are many more to come. The Creators also reveal that the boys were chosen for a special mission, although they don't say exactly what that mission entails. The boys are taken to a large building where they are told that they will live. Sometime later, a girl named Teresa arrives, and she brings with her some much-needed female energy. She also reveals that she was the one who wrote the note to Thomas, helping him to escape the maze. Together, Thomas and Teresa grow closer, while the other boys form alliances with different girls. The group lives in relative luxury for a while, but they soon become restless and want to explore the surrounding area. However, they are warned not to go anywhere near the deadly dead zone. Despite this warning, some of the boys sneak out anyway, only to return with stories of strange floating objects in the sky and heavily armed men searching the ground. It becomes clear to Thomas and the others that the world they once knew has been completely destroyed and that they are now living in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. As time goes by, the boys grow older and stronger, and they eventually decide that they want to leave the building and venture into the outside world. Before they do so, though, Teresa reveals that she is carrying Thomas's child, which means that the two of them won't be able to leave. Devastated, Thomas vows to return as soon as possible, but it eventually runs out of fuel. This forces the boys to flee on foot, although they are closely pursued by the grievers and the cranks. In the end, the boys are forced to climb into the back of a truck for safety. When they look back, They see that the grievers and the cranks have been thrown off the road. The boys had hoped that they had escaped, but they soon discover that they are trapped in an underground labyrinth beneath the city. With no way out, the boys are forced to fight for their survival. However, they are eventually rescued by a group of women who lead them to safety. The women explain that they are part of a secret organization known as Wicked, which was responsible for conducting the maze experiments. According to the women, the boys were part of an initiative to find a cure for the deadly flare virus. The virus had almost wiped out the entire human race, and it was believed that the immunity could be found within the brains of immune children. These children were kept in the maze until they reached adolescence, at which point they were deemed too old to be of any use and were disposed of. However, the women explained that this is no longer the case and that the boys will be given a chance to find a cure. The boys are taken to a laboratory where scientists begin to extract their memories. By doing so, the scientists hope to piece together the events that led up to the creation of the flare virus. With the help of the scientists, the boys are eventually able to remember everything about their past lives. They also discover that the world outside the maze is even more dangerous than they had imagined. In order to survive, the boys must learn to work together and use their memories to their advantage. Eventually, they discover that the only way to save the world is to sacrifice themselves. This is because it is only the immune children who are able to donate their brains without dying. Although sad to say goodbye, the boys agree to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Before they do so, though, they are given a chance to say goodbye to their loved ones. Each boy says goodbye to the girl they love and promises to return for them in another life. Once they have said their goodbyes, the boys enter the laboratory and offer up their brains to be extracted. As their brains are removed, the boys die instantly. But they know that they have saved the world. And that, my friends, is the story of the Maze Runner. I know it's quite a dark story, but I still think it's a great young adult dystopian novel. What about you? Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, then please make sure to leave a like and subscribe because it tells me that you find these videos useful and it also helps to support the channel. But as always, thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a great day.